So it has a brew. I even have a brand new mug. It's like a Le Creuset mug, a ginger mug, because it was really cheap on Amazon. I think it was an Amazon daily deal or something like that. So there's two real things I kind of want to talk about, because there's not really been anything in the news to really talk about. The only sort of one of the major things that came out of everything was Steam OS. Now, last week when I was doing the IP5 conference slash summit, I didn't. We kind of filmed the video on like Sunday, so I didn't find out about the news until after it happened, and so we could have shot the video again. But we kind of ran out of time. So basically, Steam OS. So for those of you who don't know, Steam OS was the announcement that Steam had. The Valve had on Monday, which is Monday, so last Monday. They announced Steam OS. They also announced the Steam Box, which is actually was on the Wednesday. They announced that, and then they also announced a new controller as well. You can check out. I'll put links in the descriptions below of pretty much all the information you need, because I'm not going to fuck around with putting images on the screen because it doesn't matter. Most of you already heard about it anyway, and so I'm kind of a bit of a week behind all the news. So Steam OS is very interesting. I don't think it's going to be. So basically, what happened, or what's going to happen, is SteamOS is essentially a Linux-based operating system that just runs Steam. That's literally it. It's not really going to do very much else. You might have some apps in there, things like Netflix and LoveFilm, and perhaps some little bits and like that, which they've still yet to actually announce. But that's probably what they'll actually have within SteamOS itself. Obviously, plus all your games and everything else. And the other part of that is they're going to have actual hardware, physical hardware that that's going to run like a PC in the living room kind of thing. And that's kind of what they want to get SteamOS to be. They want it to be a living room PC that you can play games on, kind of like a console. Now, one of the great features within it is that even if you, because they've got a tiered based hardware solution, so it's going to be good, better, best sort of kind of system by the looks of things. So they'll have like a tiny box, and literally all it can do is it can stream stuff, and that's kind of it. So what you can do with SteamOS is you can stream games across the network. So if you've got something that runs on your Windows machine, or on your Mac, or on your Linux machine, but the actual hardware you physically got connected to your TV isn't good enough, you can stream that across the network. Now, I mean, it will add latency, but if it's single-player games, it doesn't matter. And multiplayer is a little bit different because it's going to add quite a bit of latency to the multiplayer, and so if you're trying to opponent some noobs, the latency is going to be too much, and you're not going to be able to actually kill people fast enough because the latency is just going to be too high across the network. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how they actually implement that. I'm going to assume they're going to actually encode it before they send it across the network, so something like H.264. That's kind of one of the most interesting things I kind of like out of the whole lot, because apart from that, there's not really anything extra that I'd say, yeah, I really want that, because Steam already has like a Steam OS kind of interface. You've got Steam like Steam full screen or whatever they're calling it, which is kind of like a living room PC kind of environment. So if you had, if you actually wanted to have like a gaming machine in the living room, you can kind of already do that. Is it going to take away a lot of the stuff from the console gamers? I don't think so. I know a lot of console gamers are going to be moving towards PC anyway. A lot of people on Twitter have been saying that. It will be very interesting to see if there's any actual official figures on console gaming when next gen comes out and PC gaming when next gen comes out, because I think PC gaming is going to jump up quite a bit, because you can pick up a gaming PC that will run things at least in medium settings, like Battlefield 3 and stuff in medium settings, for about 400, 500 quid, which is about the same sort of price as an Xbox anyway. And obviously you've got the advantages of things like paying less for games and all these other bits and pieces, all the advantages you get with PC. So actually it becomes cheaper, especially if you bundle it with things like graphics cards, because especially AMD now, just pretty much giving games away, like Far Cry 3 you can get with games, Dirt 3, Battlefield they give away, what else? Another one, Mirror's Edge is another one they seem to give away quite a bit. There's quite a lot of games they give away with graphics cards now as well, which is really, really great for PC gamers, and I think that's kind of why a lot of people are going to come into PC. Now, SteamOS is a little bit different, because I don't think, I mean, a lot of people are going to be on Steam. That, you know, the console gamers are going to come towards Steam because Steam's easy. It kind of sort of follows the same kind of processes that PlayStation Network and Xbox Live has, but it's obviously better because it's Steam and it's Valve and it's all owned by Lord Gabe, all hail Lord Gabe and everything else. So it's actually kind of better. But I don't think Steam OS is going to be a rival to the console, because I think if you're going to get a gaming PC, you're going to get a gaming PC. That's it. You're not going to fuck around with this kind of happy medium thing. The only people I can see that are going to get Steam in the living room and a Steam box, and maybe Steam OS, is the real hardcore geeks that want to A, try it out, and B, have loads of money and just kind of want to have, they've got a beastie machine and they want to be able to stream stuff across the network, and they kind of want to be able to do some things in the living room, things like racing games and stuff like that. Because FPS, I mean, you can have a funky controller and it might look great, but realistically, a keyboard and mouse just beats a controller any day. If it's just no competition, speed and accuracy of a keyboard and mouse combined. If you versus a controller, if it was 1v1, you just would not win. Just no way, not even a chance. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, will I use SteamOS? Probably not. I might install it on a separate partition and try it out, but I'm unlikely to run it on my projector or anything like that, because my projector's already plugged into my gaming PC, and generally PC gamers are not going to be using big screen TVs, and if they are, they're going to just plug in the standard beastie machine anyway. They might use SteamOS, but they're likely to use Windows, because Windows has got the driver support there and everything else. And I mean, it'd be good if Steam works with vendors, so works with AMD and works with Nvidia to get some proper drivers for Linux. Then it'll be amazing, because at the moment the thing that lets Linux down for gaming is driver support, because AMD don't really have much in the way of driver support, neither does Nvidia. There's some driver support there, it's just a little bit flaky and fragmented, and it's not quite up to par like Windows is, and that's understandable, because not everybody uses Linux. Most people are going to be using Windows 7, Windows 8, that kind of stuff. Maybe even Windows Vista, maybe if they're thick in the head, perhaps. I don't know. So it's going to be very interesting. I think we're just going to have to wait and see, really. See what the hardware is going to be like. See what the software is actually going to be like. See kind of what deals they can get with actual vendors. I mean, it could even become like, say, if it's a good, better, best sort of system where you have, you pay like $100 or something, or £100 for a kind of like a Chrome Pixel, not Chrome Pixel, a Chrome, the Google TV thing that you can chuck in the side of a TV. I can't remember what the hell it's called. If you have that kind of setup, that's going to be amazing. That'll be brilliant, because you can stream stuff across the network. It's on a tiny little stick, and that's it. And it's going to be cheap, and it's going to be fantastic, and you can do all lots of really funky things in terms of apps and everything else. Apart from that, I don't really know. I mean, obviously they're going to have like a beastie machine that's going to be able to do it, and like maybe a medium range machine. That sounds as though that's what they're going to do. There's nothing confirmed. They're kind of just sort of a little bit sort of secretive about it at the moment, but hopefully that'll all come together, and hopefully we'll see something really, really funky out of Valve. The last thing I wanted to mention was Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer leaving Microsoft. Now, I got a lot of hate when I mentioned this on Twitter, because I don't really know. Well, not a lot of hate. It was only a couple of people that said, "Oh." A, somebody didn't think that Steve Ballmer was any good, and B, they were just taking the piss anyway. I looked at. I mean, if Steve Ballmer did this amazing goodbye speech at the is it the CEO summit or whatever it was? I think it was the last financial summit or something of Microsoft that Steve Ballmer's ever going to go to, and it was a real heartfelt sort of goodbye, really, and he was crying and everything else, and it was kind of I thought it kind of tugged a few heartstrings, really. I thought it was really, really good, and I don't think any other CEO would get the amount of applause, and even Tim Cook, I don't think anybody would get. Steve Jobs would, and Steve Jobs kind of already has before he died, but Steve Ballmer, I mean, you can slag him off as much as you want. He might not be the best CEO for Microsoft. He might be a bit of a, perhaps not the best CEO for Microsoft, but as a bloke, just an amazing bloke. Really, really enthusiastic about the company. He really loves Microsoft. He's really passionate about it, and that is kind of, I think, what Microsoft are going to lose out on. And they need to find somebody that's going to replace him. That's going to be as passionate as that. Perhaps a little bit nutty. Fine, fair enough. I mean, admittedly, Steve Ballmer's perhaps not, because of his nuttiness, has perhaps made some stupid mistakes. But it's not necessarily down just to the CEO. It's a board of governors, it's a board of directors, and it's different product lines and everything else. So you can pin all the bad things about Microsoft on Steve Ballmer, but it isn't really his fault. Things like Windows 8 and things. And Windows 8 is great, but there's some really annoying things they've done because they went a certain way and it didn't work. and as opposed to backpedaling majorly, they've only backpedaled a little bit, and so it's still a little bit of a crap. It's still a little bit of a crappy interface and a crappy user experience. It's the same with the RT. The RT could have had so much, or the Windows tablets could have had so much potential, but they failed because Microsoft decided they were going to try and do something and it didn't work because Windows 8 didn't work. And it's a real shame, but is that Steve Ballmer's fault? I don't think so. I think Steve Ballmer is an amazing bloke, and I think he does definitely deserve a fantastic goodbye. And I don't even care if you don't like Microsoft. It's irrelevant whether or not you might like Microsoft, because I think Steve Ballmer genuinely is a really, really good bloke. He's got the best interests of Microsoft at heart. He's got the best interests of the industry at heart. I genuinely think that. He might not do. He might be able to commit us to bullshit. But from what I've seen, it seems like he's got his head screwed on his head in the right place. And it'll be a real shame to see him leave Microsoft. But not really much we can do about that. I've been trying to do so many videos, and it's kind of not working. So hopefully I can try and get some videos done this weekend on a lot of the things you've been asking me. So things to do with servers. Somebody wanted me to do a room tour as well, which I may or may not do, but that means I have to tidy up majorly because my room's a complete shit pit at the moment. And there's been a ton of other things that people want me to do. I might even try and do an IP5 thing again in terms of configuration or other stuff, which I need to talk with Michael Tremor about over the IP5 project to try and do things like proxies and stuff. But after having spent some time with the guys over at IP4, I kind of understand a lot more about how the system works. So from me as a user using it, hopefully I can help you, other technical people that want to be deploying it, and then go from there, pretty much. So that is pretty much it. So apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video.